What's good, YouTube? It's Rigo here, and I got a deck profile for Lightsworn Shiranui. This is under the new Forbidden Limited list that came out yesterday and takes effect at the Monday of next week, so the end of August, pretty much the beginning of September. Although, if I'm not mistaken, this deck was not affected by the ban list in any way whatsoever. Like, nothing in it got hit, and nothing came off the list that I would have wanted to use. Like, some people ask me if I would use Allure of Darkness, and then I show them that there's only 3 darks in the deck, so, yeah. So, I was actually really surprised and pleased that nothing in the deck was hit, because I was half expecting both Brilliant Fusion and Norden to get hit, and that would have been like 2 engines in the deck just cut out completely, which would have sucked. But they both got away fine, which is surprising and really good, because they're both pretty absurd in this deck. So yeah, Lightsworn Shiranui, I think, I want to say it's potentially the best deck in the game, but I also feel like for it to reach that, like, max potential, it definitely needs Minerva, and I don't have Minerva because I suck at this game, so I don't top anything. I also don't go anything, though, but I probably also suck. But, so yeah, this version doesn't have Minerva. It would, obviously, if I had Minerva, begging for that reprint. But I think even without Minerva, it functions well enough that you could probably take it to, like, a regional and do good. You can definitely take it to a local and do well. I went to a local yesterday, and I haven't played in 3 months. Like, I haven't played a real person since the beginning of June, or, like, the end of May. And so I took this, and it was 4 rounds. I went 3-1, and my only loss was to Monarch. And literally minutes after that match ended, the ban list updated. So that I don't really count that anymore, because if Monarch's still relevant, it's probably going to be like some stun variant, which, like, if that gives me problems, it's just because it's Monarch stun. But I'm not expecting it to be a massive threat. And my other opponents there was like a Felgrind user, and I bricked game 1, and then like I just managed to like grind it out and kill him anyway, and then I like destroyed him game 2. Round 2 was a Monarch guy. Round 3 was, I think round 3 was a Blue Eyes player, and I beat him 2-0. And then round 4 was a Desktop player, and I 2-0'd him as well, but I also like sacked him really hard. So it's definitely really powerful. It has a really high ceiling. Its biggest problem is that if it bricks or opens slow, it has trouble getting its game going, and that's where Minerva comes in and makes that better. But the best alternative I have is Bujin Tsukuyomi, and he's not nearly as good. Like, he's still useful, but he's not Minerva. So, yeah. But yeah, let's get into the deck. Okay. So, I feel like the name's a little misleading. Like, the Lightsworns and the Shiranuis are like the 2 main engines of the deck, but you run such a low count of both of them. But like the Shiranuis and like the zombie engine in general are your power, and then the Lightsworns are like the mill source. But yeah. So 3 Solitaire. This guy is probably the most important card in the deck. Like, he's what makes the zombie engine so consistent. Because he is a 1-card Cypher and 1 Omega, or any level 8 synchro really, with Solitaire into Unizombie, send Mizuki, revived Solitaire, and make level 8 synchro. So yeah, he is insanely good. So, and then I play 1 Spirit Master, because like his in-hand, like his normal summon effect's pretty nice, because you could revive Solitaire from your graveyard or summon it from your hand. So then that's a free level 8 without having to use Mizuki. But the main thing I like about him, and I didn't actually get to use this yesterday, but I like the concept behind it, is that because you can banish him with either Fairy Tail Snow or like Spectral Sword, and he'll pop a card, so he's spot removal that you mill, and I think that's pretty good. So that's the main draw of him, but the other effect to revive is decent if you draw him. And then 1 Spectral Sword. This card, aside from one thing he does, he's not that good, but the one thing he does is so amazing, because it's make Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Because you banish him and Solitaire, you make the level 6 Shiranui Synchro, and then you and then Solitaire revives him, and that's Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. And even if you don't have Crystal Wing, like I was borrowing my friend's Crystal Wing, but I don't actually have one. It's still a free level 8 synchro on the turn after you mill him, so even without Crystal Wing, it's pretty good. So, like, the one thing he does really well is make level 8s, including Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, so having the 1-of is nice. And then other zombies are 3 Mizuki. This is a really, really good card. And then 2 Unizombie. So, you don't want to run 3, because a lot of the time you don't actually want to draw him, unless you opened up other strong stuff, because you'd rather summon him off the Solitaire. But you run the 2 because A, you don't want, he's your only target for Solitaire aside from Spectral Sword, so you don't want to end up having no copies in your deck. And also, this deck, if it doesn't straight up kill your opponent on the first turn, it also has a pretty good grind game. So there are several times I've used the first Unizombie, and then later on in the game I've been able to summon the second Unizombie, so just for that. And also running 2 means you're more likely to mill it, and milling him is good because you can revive him with Mizuki. And then the last monster is Zombie Master. You only run 1 because you don't want to draw him. You want to mill him because then you can revive him with Mizuki, and then he turns Mizuki into a free synchro as long as you have a monster in your hand. So, yeah. That's all the zombies. And then for Lightsworns, I run 3 Raiden, 3 Wolf, and 1 Lumina. So, I think the rest of the Lightsworns are unnecessary. The only other one I'd consider running is probably Lila, but I don't like that she eats up a normal summon. That's my biggest issue with her. So, yeah. I would probably consider running a bigger Lightsworn engine, like maybe put in Lila and Felice if I had Minerva, because then that could be potential draw power and potential destruction, but since I don't have Minerva, they really serve no purpose in the deck. Raiden's really good because he's a mill 4 if you have to summon him. He's a light for Tsukuyomi, and you can revive him with Norden. That's a free level 8 and stuff like that. Wolf's good because you can mill him. I don't like Felice because the only thing that you're probably going to use that actually mills that's a monster effect is going to be Raiden or like Lumina. But so yeah, Felice doesn't really come up that much. She's just a worse version of Wolf. And I originally wasn't running the Lumina, but I found that sometimes there would be plays that opened up where if I search out Lumina, I could extend the play even further. So just running the 1-of her is nice. Being level 3 kind of sucks, but you can always boost her up with Unizombie. So yeah. And then the other monsters in the deck are 2 Photon Thrasher, just free light monster to open up with if you go first, even if you go second. It's a free turn 1 light, but you run 2 because you don't want to open multiples. Then through Fairy Tale Snow, this card's so good. Like, this card's insane. Just because of how much the deck mills and how many like fluff spell cards it runs, it's so easy to just get 7 easy cards to banish, because really, like, the only things you never want to banish are, like, you never want to banish Mizuki, you want to keep at least 1 Unizombie, and you never want to banish Zombie Master. So, like, if it's not a zombie, as long as you keep, like, 1 Raiden for Norden plays, you can banish pretty much anything in the deck. And it's, like, you're not really losing anything. So it's really easy to make her live. She constantly comes back, she's Disruption, she's a free level 4 body, she's light. She's really good. And then the last monster is Garnet for Brilliant Fusion. And then for spells, it's through Brilliant Fusion. I feel like this is especially necessary without Minerva. I feel like even with Minerva, I'd still consider playing it. So I just really like Brilliant Fusion. I think it's a really good card. And it's like, I was originally running a Trick Clown, but I felt like most of the time if I was dumping Trick Clown, I could also just dump Wolf. But you can also dump Raiden if you have Lumina or Instant Fusion in your hand. You can dump Fairy Tale Snow. So there's a lot of targets for Brilliant Fusion. 2 charges of Light Brigade, obvious. 1 Foolish. 3 Instant Fusion. This card is stupid. And, like, I was actually only running 1 before because of space, and then I'm so glad. Like, I made some changes. I was really trying the Empowered engine with 2 Empowerment, a Terraforming, and a Dragodius because it was a free level 4 body, but I decided to stop focusing on Tsukuyomi, and I found that that engine wasn't as good if you're not focusing, so So I cut those and I put in 2 instant fusion among other cards, and this is so dumb along with Raiden. It's ridiculous. So it's a free synchro with without using your normal summon, just makes your plays even stronger. So yeah. 1 Rhoda, because you can search Thrasher or Raiden. 3 Solar Recharge. Even with only 7 Lightsworns, you have 3 ways to search a Lightsworn, so you're effectively running 10 Lightsworns, so Solar Recharge is still pretty alive. And then 1 Soul Charge. This is pretty much an auto win if you resolve it. Even like I opened Solitaire in this, and that's 2 level 8 synchros. And then so it's absurd. Soul Charge is really broken in this deck. And then 1 Upstart, because after I made cuts for the Empowerment Engine, I had room for 1 more card, so I just put Upstart in. And then Rise to Full Height is the 1 trap. So this card's dumb. I don't know if I'd say it's broken, it's just kind of dumb. Because you can, if you have it with Omega, you can banish it, target the Omega, Omega puts it back in your graveyard, and then you banish the Omega, and your opponent can't attack. So, it's a really good card. And that's all the monsters. Or that's the entire deck, actually. That's not all the monsters, that's the whole deck. So, for extra deck, there's 2 proxies in here because I was borrowing them from my friend, but I think they're both vital, and eventually I'll have to pick them up. I made 1 change. Like, I swapped 1 card out after the event. I was running Bujinki Amaterasu, because being able to revive like your banished monsters is pretty useful, but I only used it once, and it was off of an instant fusion play. So I just cut it because I felt like it wasn't as necessary. I might put it back in, but so if I had Minerva, I'd be running Minerva, but as I don't, the only Xyz monsters I'm playing are Utopia, Utopia the Lightning, and Tsukuyomi. These are really the only ones you need. I don't really find myself needing to go into any other rank 4s, except for maybe like if it starts coming up, I could do like Rhapsody and Berserk for Blue Eyes or Dweller for Burning Abyss, but I don't know how relevant those would be, and I'd probably end up siding them. And then for synchros, I run 2 Cypher and Lord Omega, so that's one of the things I borrowed from my friend. I only have 1 actual Omega, but I was really going to try and get by with 1, and then the more when I played and borrowed my friends, I realized 2 is so much better. Just having 2 Omega just disrupts your opponent so much, and it lets you constantly recycle Mizukis, and it's really good. And I would honestly consider playing 3, just because it's so easy to spam level 8 synchros, and if you have 3 Omega, that's just really broken. So, yeah, I might switch to triple Omega and cut either like Bills or Void Ogre Dragon. These are both really easy to make because Unizombie is a dark. Bills I like for Cosmo and for Blue Eyes, although Cosmo has the out through Cosmojo and Blue Eyes has the out with Twin Burst. So this is more of a nuisance than like a be-all end-all. Void Ogre is really good because you drain your hand constantly. You just drain it through discarding for Zombie Master or Unizombie, and most of the time I drain out my entire hand, which makes Void Ogre alive, so I might cut the Bills for a 3rd Omega. 1 Scrap Dragon, just nice spot removal. I don't really like Scarlight because you usually set up such a powerful board that, like with triple Omegas and other synchros, that you don't ever really want to wipe. And Scrap Dragon clears through back row if you need it. 1 Crystal Wing, and the Samurai Saga that is used to summon Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing's really good, and Crystal Wing's the 2nd card I borrowed from my friend, so I need to get another one of those. 1 Shogun Saga. So this is used mainly because if you do the Samurai Saga play, and then after you do that and you make Crystal Wing, you have Samurai Saga and Spectral Sword in your graveyard, so in the next turn you can just get a free 3000 body for nothing. So it's just nice extra damage or extra power if you need it. His effect isn't really that good, but the other effect is really good. Or the fact that you get a free 3000 is really good. And I play 2 level 7s, which are Black Rose Moonlight and Michael. Michael's pretty easy to summon. You just summon, you can do Lumina Raiden, or you can just Unizombie, and then Fairy Tale Snow. And he's spot removal that doesn't destroy, which is really useful against Blue Eyes because it gets around Return of the Dragon Lords. And then it's also like against metal foes you can banish their face downs and stuff. So yeah, Michael's really good. Moonlight's mainly for Blue Eyes matchup. Just bounce one of their monsters and then force a bounce every turn. And then Norden and Seraphonite. That's the extra deck. The only things I would consider putting in really are putting back in Amaterasu or putting in Minerva. Alright, so side deck. This is pretty different from the side deck I played last night. I was playing Mask of Restrict, like 3 Mask of Restrict, 1 Stardust Spark Dragon, and I think I also sided a Dweller because I was afraid of Monarch. So I took those out, and this is really more like concept stuff, like things I'm considering siding, but I don't know if I actually would. So yeah, this is definitely not a set in stone side deck. It's just things I'm thinking of. So all the hand traps, DD Crow, Veiler, Flying Sea, and Maxi. These all have applications against some deck. DD Crow is good against BA and Blue Eyes, and the Mirror. Veiler is good against pretty much everything except for like metal foes. Yeah, Veiler's it's not that good against BA, but it's good against Blue Eyes. It's good against. It's all right against this deck, but I'd probably play something else. So Flying Seas for BA, and Maxi is for BA, Pendulum, just a lot of things really. And then Alumirage. So I don't know how I feel about this in this deck. I just kind of like the idea of it because it turns most things to be really weak. Like he drops himself to 900 or to 700, but then he drops like Blue Eyes drops to 600, so you can just run over Blue Eyes with this. It just makes a lot of things super weak. I'd have to. I know this alone can't kill Chaos Max because some people play that, but I don't know. Like I'd have to figure out if I can drop it along with another monster to kill Chaos Max. It's possible. So yeah, and he's also a tuner, so you can also like tune for him. So yeah, and he's also good for outing like Majesty's Fiend, Vanity's Fiend, Dark Law, stuff like that. Raigeki, this card is. I still think this card is dumb. But, yeah. One card I don't have in here because I think I misplaced mine, but I definitely am considering siding, is Swords of Concealing Light. Just because non-targeting, non-destroying removal, or like just to deal with stuff that have stupid monster effects is really good, and I just need to find mine, or if I got rid of them, I need to pick up some. So, yeah. Twin Twister, I'm bouncing between 2 or 3 of these because I never want to open multiples, but at the same time, it's such a powerful card that if I'm facing Floodgates, I want to see it early. And I'm probably likely to mill some, so I might end up playing 3 or 2. And the last one's Breakthrough Skill because it's an answer to monster floodgates that I can mill. So, yeah. And that's the entire deck. I really like it. I'll probably play it at there's a regional coming up in Baltimore in October. I'll play it for that. And then there's another regional like 2 weeks after that by that time ABC's out. I don't know if I'm going to build ABC because I like it, but I don't feel comfortable playing it without a lot of the like non-deck cards. So like I'd have to get like the back row, so Anti-Spell, Fragrance, and Solemn Strike. Probably have to get Pot of Desires. And I'm not really sure if I want to because I'm probably going to drop money on Crystal Wing and Omega. Maybe 2 Omegas. Oh, I don't know. So yeah, I'll have to think about that. When Invasion Vengeance or Invasion of Venom, whenever the next booster pack comes out, I'm probably going to build Mermail Frog with Tree Toad because that seems really dumb and fun. So, yeah. In the meantime, I'm really enjoying this deck. So, and I've got other things built. I still have Dragopal built because it didn't really get hit that hard by the ban list. It just lost Monkey Board. Yeah, I have the core for Metal Foes, but I don't really think it's worth playing currently. I think when the next set comes out, it'll be better, so I might build it then. But right now, I don't really care for it, especially with only one Kieran. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, YouTube. I'll see you next time. Deuces.